We learnt in the last lesson that an apps page is made out of lots of different elements. We also know that these elements can be grouped together inside of other elements. For example, we placed this text input element and this button element inside of this div block element. This structure of nesting children elements inside of parent elements is called page hierarchy. You can see the entire page hierarchy by expanding the navigator panel here. Click this arrow icon to dock the navigator panel so that you can see your entire page at the same time as you can view the navigator. From the navigator, you can see all of the elements that make up the page and how these elements are nested inside of each other. The root element of the page is the body element. The body element contains all other elements. Nested directly inside of this body element, there is this div block element. And nested inside of this div block element, there is another div block element which makes up this side panel of our page over here. The side panel is then made up of several other different elements. Clicking the elements in the navigator also selects them on the apps page, as you can see here. If I select the div block element that makes up this side panel from the navigator, I can then start to customize the element styles. To set custom styles, I can use Didify's style panel, which is over on the right-hand side of the page. The styles panel has all of the tools that can help you develop 100% custom styling for your app. For example, there are tools to help build custom layouts, spacing, sizes, typography, and so on. In this case, let's expand the background color section. Click on the color option here and change the color of the selected element from blue to a light black color like so. You can undock the navigator here and then close the navigator by clicking the cross over here. Next, let's select the text input box in the center of the page over here. You can navigate to the container div block element by using the breadcrumb trail at the bottom of the page. This shows the page hierarchy, but only for a selected element. However, it can be faster to navigate to the element that you want to select using the breadcrumb trail. Click back through the breadcrumb trail until you reach the div block element, and then go over to the spacings option in the styles panel. On this strange looking image, click on the inside square to set spacing on the inside of the div block element. You can set this to 20 pixels like so. Notice that this spacing is applied on the inside of the div block element. You can then click on the other side of the box over here and set the spacing on the inside of the div block element to 100 pixels. Notice that the spacing here is applied on the inside of the div block. Lastly, set the spacing outside of the div block to 40 pixels by clicking on the outside of this graphic and setting the pixels to 40 like so. Repeat this for the table element here. So we are going to select the table element and then use the breadcrumb trail to navigate to the div block container. We are then going to go over to the styles panel and add 20 pixels of spacing inside of the div block container like so, and set the spacing on the inside of the div block container to 100 like so. Finally, we can add margin to the top of the div block element like so. Pause the video now and, using the navigator to navigate to the div block element that makes up this sidebar, change the background color of the sidebar to a custom color of your choice. Next, set the custom spacing inside and outside the div block elements that contain the text input, button, and table elements, just as I have done here. Once you've finished, click the Build Code button, and then, after the code is generated, go back over to your live app and refresh the screen to see your changes here.